Hi everyone, welcome to Chef Shelley's Kitchen. Today we are going to make a butternut squash soup with pumpkin seeds on the top. So delicious, so simple. I know I first got turned on to this at a restaurant called Mimosa Grill, and I haven't always been a butternut squash person. I would cook it maybe with other roasted vegetables, but not necessarily in other recipes. But this is an all-time favorite of ours, and when you add the pumpkin seeds on top, it just takes it to the next level. But before I go into the recipe, let me share a life principle with you. So today's life principle is about bridges. So here's my advice. Avoid burning bridges as much as you can, because you never know when you might have to cross back over it. So ponder on that as I cook and show this recipe to you. Now I know some of you might be thinking, well, sometimes we leave jobs or we leave relationships and not on the best of terms. And sometimes it can't be helped because of the circumstances. But as best as you can, try to avoid burning those bridges. All right? Okay, so here are the ingredients, and we're going to add spices. We're going to do this in two phases. What you'll see is I have the butternut squash here, and this is really kind of like a medium-sized butternut squash. And what you want to do is you want to take it and you want to dice it up just as I have it here. And then you want to add also to it a sweet potato. So you can either use a large sweet potato. My recommendation is to use two small ones. For some reason, the small petite ones, they're sweeter. And that's really what that's gonna do for this butternut squash. We want the sweet potato because of kind of the thickness, but we also want it for the sweetness. And the other piece that we're going to add for the sweetness are the carrots. So you want to use just about a cup of carrots and a half of an onion. And then this baby over here is chicken broth. So what we're going to do is I'm going to combine all of these in a saucepan, and I'm going to keep it on the stove, and I'm going to let it cook until you can take a fork and really kind of press down on either your butternut squash or your sweet potato, okay? So I'm going to say about 15-20 minutes on medium heat. That should do it. And then what we're going to do is once this is done, I'm going to come back with the saucepan. We're going to add spices to it, and then we're going to pour it into my Vitamix over there. We're going to be bringing that baby over here, and that's really what's going to make the magic. So first thing you want to do, go on and pour your chicken broth right into the saucepan. You want to go on and empty your butternut squash into the saucepan. And then to that, you want to add your sweet potato. And again, all of this is, you're just trying to make this soft so that when it's time to put it in the Vitamix, then, it'll puree very nicely. And then the onions, okay? So that should be all you need. And I tell you, this for us makes we can get at least 4 servings out of this, if not 5 or 6. So it depends upon how hungry you are. If you're gonna fill it up to the top, well, you're not gonna get that many out of it. But if in fact, you're like a reasonable person, and I'll use my bowl again, and you fill it up about, halfway, I think you're golden. Have that with a great salad and you're doing good. All right, so we're gonna go on, we're gonna put it on the stove, we're gonna let it cook for a while. We'll come back, I'll add the spices, and then it goes in the Vitamix, okay? So be back. All right, so we brought this to a boil, and again, I had it on medium heat. So I'm gonna say, anywhere 15-20 minutes. Again, that should be good enough because you're not trying to make it mushy, just soft enough so that when you put it in your blender that you'll be able to, and again, if you don't have a Vitamix like I do, you may need to, let it cool. The beautiful thing about the Vitamix is that you can put boiling hot things in it and it's made for that. So if your blender is kind of thin plastic or something, you might need to let it cool before you put it in. So that's something to think about. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to just take everything, let's put this down here, and I'm going to just take everything from here and I'm going to put it in my Vitamix like so, okay? And this pan is not going to be too far from me because then I'm going to actually put everything back in it. All right, so we're going to put it on here and let's move this over. And I'm not going to talk, of course, during this time because it's loud. The other thing, it's totally up to you. It's about your preference. You're also going to add some butter, so you can do it now. You can put it in now. You can put the butter in after you put it back in the pan. And I'm just gonna put everything in there. So this is my seasoning. This is salt, pepper, and sage. My recommendation is I would say salt and pepper to taste. Some like it a little saltier. I'm gonna give some recommendations on the amount. And then I always tell you, start low. And then if you want to add to it, you can. So I'm going to just mix everything in here together like so. All my spices like that. And because I really have done the hard part already by just cooking it, okay? And so let's go on and turn it on. It's going to do its thing. Take a look at it. Now, some people also add cream cheese to theirs. It's really a personal preference. I find mine doesn't really need cream cheese, and they do it mainly to make it kind of thicker. You're gonna see here, and this is actually a great puree. I don't have to do this any longer, and part of that was all because we made sure we cooked it right. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just put this step aside, and I'm going to literally now just pour some of this into my bowl because it is ready for prime time. Okay, so here we go. It's already hot. How many dishes can you make like that? And then here are my pumpkin seeds, and all you're gonna do is just kind of sprinkle them on the top. So good, so good, so good. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have pumpkin squash soup with pumpkin seeds. That easy and that good. You can see the texture. It's kind of thick and creamy, just perfect. Let's give it a taste. Right on the money. Now, I can tell you, I apparently had really good sweet potatoes and the right amount of carrots. Some people add sugar to theirs. I'm not adding sugar to this at all because it's absolutely perfect. But if you find that your potato was not sweet enough or the carrots weren't sweet enough, then you can add like a teaspoon or so of sugar or sweetener to the whole mixture, not to your bowl, okay? So, so good, so good, so good. All right, I'm not gonna be rude. I'm not gonna sit here and eat the whole thing in front of you. My husband tells me, okay, put the food down. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy this very simple, easy butternut squash soup with pumpkin seeds as much as I do. Again, tweak it if you want to add some other things. If you want to add the cream cheese, go ahead. I don't think it needs it. Some people add a celery. If you want to try that, go for it. But this right here is a masterpiece unto itself. Thanks again for tuning in. And remember, try to avoid burning bridges because you never know when you might have to cross back over it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, just click on my picture in the circle. I come out with a video every other week, some delicious, simple, healthier recipe, and a word or something to think about in terms of life principles. Bye.